All right. Hello. Got Jones on Sports episode 6. I'm Mike. There's Zach. Zach, how's it going?
Doing great. Feeling alive.
That's outstanding. I don't know what I'm doing here today. I'm repping West Virginia Mountaineers. Um, Interesting story, real quick. February 29th, 2020. Zach and I made the journey from Columbus, Ohio to Morgantown, West Virginia to watch the West Virginia Mountaineers and Oklahoma Sooners play basketball. The this was keep in mind this was right before COVID started to run wild, and there were at least 8 or 9 people that were repping the Sooners out of a crowd of 15,000.
I don't know about that, man. I think that might be pushing it a little too much. I think I
Maybe,
saw like five or six people.
and the rest of them were sitting right behind the Sooners bench.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on the way back the next day, I think we stopped at the Dick's Sporting Goods and I picked up this pretty killer hoodie here, repping the Mountaineers for like 15 bucks or something. And I wanted to give them a shout out, pepperoni rolls and moonshine, good stuff. And then I got Gonzaga here in the background because that's the only t-shirt of any college team I've got who's still left in the big dance. Yeah. So before we get rolling, episode 5, if you haven't, if any of you 50 million listeners haven't watched that, you should go back and check it out. It dropped last Wednesday. If nothing else, it'll give you one hell of a big laugh when you listen to how we analyzed what we thought was going to happen on the first weekend of the NCAA tournament. So, anyway, here we go. So, how'd you do?
Man, I ate it. And I'll stand up, be a man. I'm the man in the arena. I'm the one being criticized for my picks. And I'm okay with that because I know I didn't do very well and I'm okay with that. Um, which is all right. I was definitely wrong about Duke in the first round. At least they still suck. I knew they were going to lose, but Oral Roberts fell pretty hard. Iona didn't work out for me. I was a big Iona guy. There's one other one that I was really adamant on, and it just did not happen. Oh, USC. I was big on
Hmm.
stinking Lincoln and that squad making something happen, and they lost the first game. So not not the best, but Virginia losing sucked too. That hurt. Baylor even lost. Baylor's usually a team that is always there. Um, they always do really well, and them losing in the second round that kind of blew my mind. You're an idiot for picking Arizona. I told you that as soon as you said it. Uh, I
I take my punch when when I deserve it. If it's
yeah,
face or gut, I always say gut. Some of our fans will understand that one, but yeah, I kind of joked. I don't remember if it was on this or if it was when I was messaging with my brother last week, but with my Arizona pick, I said I'll probably eat my words and they'll lose the first game. And the thing is, what's crazy about this, going back to Thursday, the second result in the entire tournament was Arizona's loss.
yeah.
And so, one game and 40 minutes into the next game, my bracket's already busted. And yeah, a lot of other people's brackets were busted too, but I picked the stupid team to go all the way. Um, I think Arizona now rivals Purdue, Kansas. Um,
That
Definitely
was a
those two for teams that have taken a dump on my bracket before.
that was a big thing I kind of saw is the blue bloods, literally blue bloods, the blue teams. Kind of how in college football the red teams are good. And you got Ohio State, Georgia, Bama,
Hmm.
OU. In basketball, it's the blue team. So Kentucky, Duke, UNC, um, Kansas, and none of them made it. They all got knocked out, or they weren't even in the tournament first place, which I thought was interesting.
That's
Um,
crazy, especially North Carolina.
yeah, they
Yeah.
North Carolina is kind of like a Baylor, where they show up in the tournament.
Mhm.
Um, they didn't even make it, but yeah, Arizona, Purdue, those were the two teams that I just knew aren't going to do very well. I didn't expect Purdue to lose the first game, but if you watch that game, you could hear the commentators saying how they looked scared to play basketball.
You know what
Like
I
he,
did? Yeah, you know what I didn't get out of that game? The
mm,
7 foot 95-inch guy, Eddie.
yeah,
I was reading someplace this weekend. I think it's on the Bleacher Report. He didn't even attempt a shot in the last 10 minutes of the game. How come?
the announcer, yeah, he said I don't know if they were just shook or what. They didn't show up to play, but the announcer guy said they look scared to shoot the ball, and I agree if you watched them. But that guy, I think Fairleigh Dickinson, their
Mhm.
tallest guy, was like 6'4" or something,
Yeah, yeah.
and he was acting like a tough guy when he draw a foul or something. Like, man, you got a foot on that dude. You should have 40 points right now. That guy, man, what a joke. Purdue
Yeah,
Boilermakers, what a joke.
I mean, the thing is, they attempted a whole bunch of threes, and you play some half court. All you got to do is throw the ball up in the air in the middle because the dude is a foot taller than anybody else is trying to defend him.
Teams that
And
win always have a big guy that they dish it to.
it's interesting. That's a good point because there's a whole bunch of really big dudes in this tournament this year. Yeah, the trend in recent times has been a whole bunch of guards. A lot of teams would employ four guards out there on the floor with some kind of a stretch power forward or something like that. There's been a whole bunch of legit 7 footers out there this week. Um, who's that guy? That one dude from Creighton. He's a beast. What's his name? Cockbrennan or something like that.
I don't know. I've never heard of him. I
He,
didn't
he's a
watch
he's
them.
a yeah, he's a big freaking dude. Yeah, like 7'2", like 300 and something pounds.
I
Um,
still play old school basketball. My extent to playing basketball is at the gym. But I think, the short guys, the point guard, the medium sized guys, the shooter. And then if you're big, you're tall or you're fat, doesn't matter. You're down low and you're bullying people down low. That's how basketball is meant to be played, not everyone shooting threes. So you're going to see as the pool of teams gets smaller, the teams that are going to make it are the ones that have the big guy down low. That's good for 15, 20 points. And they play good defense. That's what's going to end up being.
I tell
Um,
you, as we go and do the Sweet 16 here, the teams that were playing that bully ball, freaking Tennessee was awesome against Duke.
yeah,
I
that's
mean,
SEC basketball, man.
let's be honest. Does Tennessee have a guy that Duke would have recruited? Probably not. Or maybe that's
Yeah,
being a little bit too
maybe
much,
maybe one, maybe one or two.
but they totally dominated the paint in that game, and a couple feet outside the paint.
One thing you notice with those big schools, you don't really see it in college football. And I'm just using college football a lot because, we can relate to that. But in basketball, they kind of think they're on like a pedestal. I don't know if you saw Coach Calipari, or I think that's his name, for
At Kentucky,
Kentucky.
yeah.
He was talking about the short guy, and the short guy did so well. I was like, that short guy dropped 30 on your head and got your what whooped by him. So get to learn his name. Don't think you're better than someone just because of uh, the school that you're at, because you're not. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't matter, because we saw that with Purdue. It doesn't matter who you play. You got to respect everyone you play. And you're not better than anyone because your name is Kansas or Kentucky or Duke. And we saw that.
Mhm.
And I love that because it's funny to watch them get punched in the mouth. I love that because I hate
Yeah,
those guys.
that was awesome. The dude you're talking about, he's like 5'7", His last name's Noel, I believe. Nowell. I could be saying that wrong. That guy, he's a stud out there.
Yeah,
And
Marquise Noel.
yeah. And I mean, he was making no look passes. He looked like a foot shorter Magic Johnson out there during that
Yeah,
game.
said he
And
dropped 27.
yeah, and I
And
mean, Kansas State, it's weird. They're going into the Sweet 16 against a freaking highly underrated, battle tested Michigan State team. That game's going to be a bloodbath,
oh
you know?
man, that's out of the Sweet 16. That's the best game, 100%. At least I think so. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm not talking about Gonzaga, UCLA. I don't care about that. If you want to watch good basketball, watch Kansas State, Michigan State.
Yeah, you weren't around, man, but you would have loved the late '80s Bad Boys Detroit Pistons. You know, anytime somebody tried to charge the lane, elbow, clothesline,
I I just
sweeping
wish
the
we got
leg, all
I
kinds of
wish
stuff.
I wish we got back to a point where we hated each other. And not in a way like humans, but teams. You see guys after a game, give them their jerseys and taking pictures together. No, you don't do that. You hate these guys. They're trying to beat you, take everything from you. You got to rip their heart out, man. That's how we need to get back to. And, it starts with raising younger kids like that. So hopefully, if I coach, I'm going to teach them like that. And they are not your friend. That's what we need. We need guys that uh, like to throw some blows back and don't get deterred by that because I hate that, man. We need to be competitive again. So
Yeah,
I would
this is from take this from Coach Zach right here. All of our listeners out there who have younger kids who are out there on the field of battle playing soccer, shooting hoops, playing football, playing softball, playing lacrosse, playing chess, whatever you're playing, go for the throat, kill, destroy,
yes,
maim, do whatever it takes to win.
exactly. It's that's
Absolutely.
that's all that matters. We're talking about basketball. You can miss every shot. That's fine. Go for the knees of the other team's best player if you have to. You got to do what you got to do to win. And it doesn't matter if it's ugly or you win by 50 points. It doesn't. If you win, you win. So we need to bring back 80s basketball. We need to, a guy tries to back you down in the post, just left hook, throw it at him. You might get a foul. Okay, that's fine.
They get a
Take it.
foul, who cares?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You got
You
five
know,
more.
you well that or you hurt them hard enough, they won't come back and do it again. I mean,
Exactly.
yeah,
We need that. We need bully
fear,
ball. Yeah.
intimidation.
Our
All
greatest
right.
motivator is fear, man. All right, back to basketball. Sorry. I
Well, this
I
was all about basketball. This was the way basketball should be.
agreed.
Okay. So, of the teams we've got left here in the Sweet 16, I think a couple of these are pretty easy to go through. One in the South is Creighton and Princeton. Creighton is a pretty darn good team. They've been on that cusp for a while. I was looking at the Bleacher Report odds on this game. Creighton's a minus 500. If this was a UFC fight, that would be pretty close to sure bet. Um, Princeton's had a nice run, but Cinderella story ends here.
I agree. I think Creighton gets the job done, and then actually a game above that, Bama and SDSU. I'm taking the Aztecs in that one. I think Bama's little runs over. Um, not the it's the only reason I say that is because it's been so unpredictable up to this point. So I don't think it's going to be multiple one seeds in the Final Four with Houston and Bama. I think one of them is definitely going to lose. So I think Bama loses.
Of the higher seed teams that are left, I'm going to look at this a different way. I think that coming out of the South, Alabama's just got a lot more than the other teams. Um, it's interesting because in the first round, Miller didn't play worth a crap. I don't even think he scored. And the other guys are just better. Second round, he played well. They dominated. I still think that, like we talked about before, some of those off the court issues might uh, hurt when they get past this week. But I just don't think San Diego State has the horses to keep up. And, again, don't bet on anything I say. All right.
Well, my only thing is I have a feeling that these really good teams out of who we have left, so Alabama, Houston, Texas, Gonzaga, or UCLA, I think at least two of those teams are going to have a really bad like off night and they're going to go home because of it. I don't know if it'll be against each other necessarily, but I think it definitely will happen. It's just a matter of which one of those teams loses.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. Like, let's take a look at the Midwest. We got Houston and Miami and Xavier in Texas. Xavier and Texas game, just that's a great matchup there. With Houston, I think that, yeah, like Sasser, I think he dropped 22 the other day. He looked pretty good. Houston didn't have any question marks. I'm still sticking with them, minus my Arizona pick that seems like 15 years ago now. I'm sticking with Houston the rest of the way. I think they'll take the U out.
Yeah.
It'll probably be a close game. They'll pull away like in the last 10 minutes or something. But Xavier and Texas, that's going to be an interesting game.
I think it's a matter of who gets comfortable early because you're starting to get in those big games where all the eyes are on you and you're against the best teams that have really done well in the tournament. So I think whoever can settle down, and we've seen that with Texas because they play better teams throughout the season. So I think they're going to win that one just off of experience and they've been in bad spots against really good teams and they found a way to win. So I'm taking the horns.
Yeah, I'm taking the horse too. I like Xavier, but they've had a pretty easy route here thus far. They picked up 11 seed Pittsburgh in the second round of playing
Play in, yeah.
team, and I think it's going to be a good game. I think the Horns will overwhelm them in the end. Again, both of us hate anything burnt orange down there. The good folks from Austin, but they're really good. I don't think they're going to have any trouble in that game. I think it'd be a good game, but they're gonna take it.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree.
let's see. In the East, got an interesting one with Florida Atlantic versus Tennessee.
Yeah, Florida Atlantic is that one weird team. You know, Princeton could be an exception as well, but they're that team that you look at the field of 16, you're like, why are they still here? And well, they're here for a reason. I like FAU. I think they're definitely a fun team. They beat a really talented Memphis team that's gone uh, kind of under the radar because of all the crazy upsets that have happened. Um, but that Memphis, they have some really good guys on their team. But I think Tennessee must be too physical, and I think their style of basketball, they should get the job done in that one.
Yeah, look at those teams that are left in the East. Okay, I think both of us think that Tennessee's going to take that game, but you got Kansas State, you got Michigan State. I mean, those three teams are going to duke it out for the Final Four. That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's your late '80s Pistons Bulls game right there, man.
I'd love if they were in different divisions actually, so they get to play in the Final Four.
Hmm.
But we're basically getting a preview of the Final Four and the Elite Eight here.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm really excited for that K State game. Could care less who wins, but man, that's going to be good basketball. And it might end up being like 58-53 kind of
hmm,
game, something like that. But I love those games. I think they're fun to watch. So
yeah.
there's going to
It's
be some hard fouls. There's going to be some big shots, and I'm going to love it. I think it's going to be a good game.
it's going to be great. When I was driving into work this morning on ESPN Radio, Michigan State's coach Tom Izzo was on there, and he was talking about the Big Ten. And me, it's not because I live in Ohio, but I haven't been a fan of Big Ten anything in years, actually ever. Period. Yeah, I don't like any of them. But I respected Michigan State. Michigan State is a great basketball program. Um, they've won a national championship, have been in the Final Four multiple times, and they have an incredible record of getting to the Sweet 16. So I think they were 19-12 in the regular season this year, but just kind of like in the Big 12, the where the teams beat up on each other, that I think's played a toll here in the tournament. Same thing happened in the Big 10. You had some really solid squads out there. Um, Purdue, Indiana, obviously, but even Northwestern, tough. Uh, Michigan State, I think they've got this far because they have the best coach who's left in the tournament.
Yeah.
Definitely has the best pedigree of anybody that's left. And
Yeah.
that's just going to be a great game with Kansas State. I can't, oh gosh, what's the guy's name? Tang is his last name. K-State's coach. He was assistant on Baylor's team from year before last, who won it all. And they've kind of brought that style of play there to K-State. K-State's really good. I that one's going to be fun. It's going to be a bloodbath. They're going to be hauling bodies off the court. Um, they'll still be breathing, okay, but they're going to be taking people
Exhausted.
off. Yeah,
Need
it's
the
going to be.
oxygen.
Yeah, the ice baths are going to be running all night. It's going to be a great game.
I think the only problem with that game is that might help out FAU or Tennessee because that's gonna be such a tough game, and it's gonna be hard to turn around and play another game against a really strong Tennessee or FAU
Yeah,
squad right
less than
after.
48 hours later. That's the
Yeah,
key right there.
yeah. That's
Um,
the thing about tournament play, though. You gotta everything you did behind you. It doesn't matter anymore. You could beat the number one seed. You could beat the 13 barely. It doesn't matter. You won the game. You just have to focus on the next one. Next game is the biggest game of your life. So
yeah, let's see the last couple ones we've got are out west. We've got 8 seed Arkansas versus number 4 UConn, and of course number 3 Gonzaga and number 2 UCLA. And that's a rematch of a game a couple years back. We were, screaming at the TV about when Jalen Suggs hit that 45-footer there in overtime to win the game. Um, Arkansas, I was looking at the NBA mock draft on one of the reputable sites this morning, and they've got 3 guys who are projected first round draft picks. Now, we all know what that means. It doesn't
it means
mean
they're gonna
crap.
lose. Yeah, it
Yeah.
means they're gonna lose.
I think UConn wins this game, and I think that they dominate this game. I think it's going to be a double-digit win. What's that dude, the big guy down low? I got it written here. Crap. Sanago, I believe. In the booth, 6'10", 260-pound guy.
Adama,
Yeah.
Adama,
He
Adam.
dominates down there. And like Zach and I have been talking, we like these big guys down there in the paint that you occupy space and take up everything and push people out of the way. And if the ref's about to call for a foul, they just give them that look. They intimidate them. And I think that UConn's going to make the Elite Eight. I I think it's a coin flip between Gonzaga and UCLA. For my
I,
coin, I am going to take Gonzaga because I'm repping them today. But that's the only
I,
reason.
man, I don't like UCLA. At this point in the tournament, I don't. I really don't. I think, and I don't like Gonzaga that much either because of Drew Timmy, his pedophile mustache. I don't really like that very much, but um, I think I take Gonzaga, and I think I'm gonna agree with you on UConn. I think Arkansas is a little bit. I think they'll be a little high off their big win they just got over Kansas. So I think they're gonna be overconfident coming into that game. I think UConn's gonna come out and show them that it's not Kansas, and
Yeah.
um, I think, and I could be wrong, but I think they'll be too high off that win. I think UConn gets
Yeah.
it done and they move
UC,
on.
UCLA's had a pretty easy run to the Sweet 16. Um, Unlike you, I like Gonzaga. I don't know why I like them. I think actually, I do know why. If you go way back in time when they were this team that won 28 or 30 games every year, they didn't play anybody. They snuck into the tournament. Maybe they upset somebody, got beat in the second round. And then over the course of the last 8 or 9 years, they are definitely a top team. This team this year, they've lost some games. Their record isn't as uh, you know glossy as it was a couple of years back when they were undefeated. But I like them a lot, and you can never count out a 38-year-old Drew Timmy to put up 25 or 30 points when he needs to. They got another guy who's at Strathmore. I think I'm saying his name wrong. He's solid down to 10. So um, if we look at that, I've got in the South, I've got Bama and Creighton. In the East, I got Tennessee and Michigan State. Midwest, I got Houston and Texas Longhorns. And in the West, I've got UConn Huskies and Gonzaga. That's mostly chalk for the Sweet 16 as far as the teams that are left.
Yeah, the only problem with that is you'll never be 100% on your picks because whoever you choose will just lose. I'm not just talking about you. I'm speaking from experience with my 11% brackets I have right now. But if I had to choose, I'm going with the Aztecs over Bama. Creighton wins. I think Tennessee gets it done. I really like Michigan State and Kansas. I'm going with Michigan State in that one. Houston wins. Xavier falls apart. Horns keep going. Um, UConn handles business, and Gonzaga sends those nerds back to their vegan food and paper straws in California. So
I tell you something, a shout out to our New York City fans. In the many trips I've had to New York City over the past 7 or 8 years, there's some pretty darn good vegan places out there. Shout out to the Peace Food Cafe up there. I want to say it's west, like shoot 75th Street or something like that, not too far from Central Park. Place is pretty solid. Get that grasshopper cookie. It'll change your life. I don't know what the hell is in it, but it's really good. So, um, for my final four, I'm going number one seed Bama, and man, the East is tough between Michigan State, Tennessee. Um, Man, Michigan State's a 7 seed. They feel like right now they should be like a 2.
yeah,
You
I
know,
agree. Well, they are though. They just happen to have that seed. They really are a good team.
yeah, I'm going to take Alabama versus Michigan State. Then on the other side, I'm still going to take Houston as long as Sasser is playing. Oh man, uh, Houston and UConn. So Bama, Michigan State, Houston, and UConn in my final four.
I actually made a second chance bracket. I don't know if you did that. Like they reset them for the Sweet 16. Um, I can't remember who I had though. I'm trying to pull it up. Oh, here we go. All right. So it would let me click on it here. I don't know why it's acting so silly. But I had oh, never mind. I can't use my phone.
I didn't do a second chance bracket this year. I should have.
Well, they're still open. Okay, can I click on it, please? Goodness.
But while you're trying to figure that out, just let me tell all our viewers real quick about mine. I ended up doing 21 brackets in the ESPN bracket challenge. And after I got about 10 of them in, I got tired, a little bored, this kind of sucks. So bracket number 16 that I did, I went chalk the entire way to include the Final Four because the teams are seeded 1 through 64. And even with that one, I've only got like 370 points. So, picking the higher seed every single time, it still sucked really bad. But all my other ones were so horrible that was my best bracket. I
Yeah,
should.
I sucked. I was very bad. I have one that has I couldn't pull it up. I don't know why I was acting so silly. So I'll just tell you. Um I got a bunch of 20% here. Um my best one is I have the Cougars winning it, the whole thing. If I'm looking at the actual field here, um I think I'd take Tennessee. Uh Actually no, I lied. I will take Michigan State. Michigan State, Texas. Okay, so Texas against Gonzaga. And then I will take Michigan State and Creighton.
Great. Wow. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So after the weekend games, we'll come back and we'll discuss our Sweet 16, the Elite Eight, and then what we've got for the final. We got about 4 minutes left, and we had UFC 286 this weekend with Leon Edwards and Kamara Usman for the title trilogy fight, and Edwards won with a majority decision. So who do you have coming up next with them in just a few minutes?
First of all, I think Edwards would have retained the belt either way, but I saw it as a draw. Edwards didn't win 4 rounds. I think they gave him the second round because he landed a knee, landed one shot that was good the whole round. Um, it should have been 47-47. It's hard to get 3 judges to, especially how bad judging is, to agree on that. But he would have been champ either way. But
Yeah,
it should have been a draw with the point deduction. But going forward, Edwards isn't a. I know I just said draw as in they tied the fight, but when we're talking about pay-per-views, Leon's not drawing in viewers. No one says, "Oh, I can't wait to watch Leon Edwards." We watched that fight Saturday because Kamaru Usman was in it. So if you give him a guy like Colby, people are gonna watch because of Colby.
yeah.
So if the UFC is looking at it from a business perspective, they want Colby in there. Um, and then they have fights set up with contenders, but Gilbert Burns fights Masvidal in 4 weeks, I think, three
Yeah.
or 4 weeks, big fight. I think Burns wins that one, and I think if Burns wins, he should get the shot.
Mm-hmm.
I would really like that fight, but I do think they give it to Colby. Um, I wouldn't mind it. He's hilarious. He's fun to listen to, and he has an interesting fighting style. He's very ferocious, so I'd like that. I don't want to watch Bilal Muhammad. Don't care. Not interested. If Leon Edwards fought Bilal Muhammad on pay-per-view, it might do 50,000 buys,
They
if
had
that.
a fight, I think it was back in 19, and ended with eye poke. They never
Yeah,
fought again.
yeah,
Um, that down the road, maybe it doesn't sell. I mean, make no mistake about it. Dana White and the UFC, they follow the WWE Vince McMahon playbook when it comes to booking championship fights. And the one that sells right now is Leon Edwards versus Colby Covington. And Edwards is typically a real quiet guy, and Covington ain't going to be quiet.
no.
And that'd be fun to watch. And um,
Uh, another
the
one
other,
to. Sorry, what were you saying?
oh, just the other thing is, I mean, Usman, he hasn't indicated that he's going to hang it up, and whatever happens, he's not going to fall too far. But I don't think there needs to be a fourth fight between him and Edwards right now.
No, I agree. The only thing I was gonna say is, uh, one the Shavkat Rakhmonov guy coming
Mm-hmm.
up.
Yeah, yeah.
Kazakhstan, I think.
Can
And
he stay at welterweight though? He's had some problems.
no, that's Kamzat. That's the Swedish guy.
Oh yeah, the Swedish guy.
Yeah. And then Connor and Chandler, you're gonna think I'm a bonehead, but they said they're fighting at 170. Don't know if that'll happen, but if they want to sell pay-per-views, you get Edwards and Connor in there if he wins. I
Yeah,
don't
we'll
think
see.
that'll happen. I don't think it happens, but you never know.
Yeah, you never know about Conor McGregor. Well,
Yeah.
we'll have to kind of table that for now. We can take a look at it again here in a few days. Um, but episode number 6 of Jaws on Sports. I'm Mike. This is Zach. You guys have a nice evening. And always hordes debt. Have a good one.